Welcome, everybody, to Ambassador Program Town Hall Meeting number 63. It's August 29th, 2023, and it's great to be back. Spent the past 2 days reading up a whole bunch after 3 weeks of holiday, and yeah, happy to be back. Today we're joined by Ian, Rojo, Slate, Sugar and Spice, Tommy, and Water. Thank you all for being here. And yeah, let's dive in. Structure of today's tunnel will be relatively old school, let's say. We'll start off with some updates on the work groups, then a couple of mentions and shoutouts, and then there's room for open topics. And we'll start off with a little reminder on what the Ambassador Program even is and what we're doing here for those checking it out for the first time. Basically, it's a community of people who are all interested in the SingularityNet ecosystem and want to contribute to it, want to help build it out. And we've got a broad selection of self-organizing work groups. So there's all kind of topics where you can help out. There's all kind of marketing, governance. It's a long list. And if you're interested to learn more, do hop onto our Discord server. It's in the description below, and there in the Getting Started channel, you can get started. So looking forward. And yeah, then to actually kick off, we'll start with an update on the work groups. And on top of the list is the archival work group, which currently I don't think has a member representing because of a competing or not competing, but an event scheduled on the same time. So for that, I'll have to refer to the archival work group Discord channel. And the bi-weekly meeting is not this week, but their next meeting is on September 6th at 13 UTC. Then usually Tavo is around to cover both the D-Work PBL work group and the process modeling work group, but I got a little update from him. Basically on the PBL work group, right now we're gonna do, we created all kind of content for these modules. We're in the step of checking and finalizing the content. After that, there will be more tasks, and you will be able to find those on D-Work. If you're interested in helping out, it's basically explaining D-Work to people and creating content to support that. And then on the process modeling work group, right now there's one more roadmap item that we're working on. That's it's basically, and you're very welcome to join. It's during the call we'll discuss how work groups how they get created, what are the minimum requirements, and yeah, what does it take to begin a work group, basically. And for that, the call is on, both of these are on Wednesday, the PBL work group on 13 UTC and the process modeling work group at 15 UTC. And then at 16 UTC, Wednesday's a busy day. We'll have the strategy work group. And I believe for that, Tommy, maybe you can give a little outline. What's on the menu?
Sure, I'd love to. Strategy has picked up a topic that it's running with the last couple of weeks, and it has already evolved a little bit. And it started as a code of ethics, trying to bring in a certain a codification, consequences, etc. on ethics, and it has been changed. Esther, who is involved with the foundation, made a very salient point. Ethics may be for AI and beneficial AI and may be better pointed that way. And for the ambassador cadre, that perhaps it would be better to focus on a code of conduct. And that essentially is, how do I talk to you right now? When we go in a work group, and if I disagree with you, can I yell at you? Should I yell? If we disagree, can we get violently agitated? And the answer to that is no. The prime rule that we've come up with, and we're still working on it, is be nice to each other. Treat everybody as you want to be treated. But strategy is working on codifying the conduct that should be coming of all ambassadors, a safe workplace where you can expect to be treated nicely. If you would love it, I would love if you would join us. It's Wednesdays. We're in Discord. I've moved it off of Zoom, so there's no blockers, and it is at 1600 UTC. My time is Eastern Daylight Time, so that's noon. Please come join us. It's posted each week. There's the Discord link, and we're having a great time. There's a document out there, and there's another one about to be posted, so we can work asynchronously. Async. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, and looking forward. Let me admit heads to the call. Then next on the agenda would be the incubation guild on Wednesdays 19 UTC. And in all honesty, I don't know what this week's topic will be, and we have I don't think we've got a representative. No, so stay tuned on the incubation channel for to see what the topic for this week will be. Then this week the Treasury Guild meeting will not take place. That's shifted to bi-weekly, but that doesn't reflect on the slide yet. Sorry for that. And well, as a small update, this week there was no distribution of rewards. That will be done next week. So yeah, no panic. Funds are safe and they will be coming your way. And that brings us to Thursday, which starts off with the onboarding work group. And Sugar, can you give us a little update on what's going on?
Hello, good evening, everybody. Good evening from my end. The onboarding work group met last Thursday, and we primarily discussed the onboarding session slides. We are hoping to have an onboarding session for new members, and we picked a date for the I think it's in September, the second week in September, I think. So let me just be sure of the date. So we're going to be sending out some messages out on the platform to create awareness, so anyone can join. But it's primarily for the new members to come in and know what the ambassador program is all about and ask their questions, and just generally to welcome them in. So we'll meet again this Thursday, same time, same place, and we'll discuss it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. And let's make sure to also push quite strongly on Telegram for that. That's mostly a mental note to myself, but yeah. Yeah, cool.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Next on the list would be the AI sandbox with Fly. That's at 18 UTC on Thursday. And I'm not. I think the topic is also to be determined yet, but that will pop up in the AI Sandbox Discord channel beforehand. Then we're moving on to the writers work group. Kenichi, I believe earlier today I saw messages of a new blog being out. So what's up?
Hello there, everyone. Hello, Peter. Great to have you back. I sent our latest Medium blog post to the marketing chat. It's a new practice I'm trying to adopt, so that way we can get more content to people, not just the writers work group being updated on the blog post going out. Also, we added a few tasks to our like a few templates to our D-Work tasks. Now we have recurrent threads that will be coming out on Twitter once we set up the pro version. And also we have a new scribe, first scribe, and so I've been trying to onboard her, Mikasa, and also we also have our first Mindplex article went up on Mindplex like a week ago or so, and we also have a new format for bi-weekly meetings where we get to separate a few minutes out to teach people scribblers on how to improve their skills, and there's this collaborative cohort, so where we get to like edit a document together. Last week's meeting didn't hold. Working on a new format for that. So we're going to be having bi-weekly meetings that will be educational for the scribblers. And we're going to be having another kind of weekly meeting that will be strictly for updates and brainstorming sessions. Also, we're having lots of new followers, and we have like crazy numbers going up on our stats for our readers. And it's really nice. The Medium page is coming up really well. And also, I would like to announce that this on the 31st of August to September 2nd, there is a Web3 Lagos conference. It's pretty huge. This is the second edition. And a lot of people, I think, Bankless Africa, I'm not so sure. And a lot of supporters coming in, and I'll be representing SingularityNet at the event, already registered. So, yeah. Doing a lot of great things.
Good stuff. Please feel free to spam that event on Discord. And maybe I've missed it, but if it's not on there, would be good. All right. Next on the list would be the video work group with a monthly update on that. Roho, please.
Thank you. I will share my screen if that's possible. Thank you. All right. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. So, before I go through our monthly update, I would like to talk about last week's video work group. So in last week's meeting, we had a little bit of a retrospective view on the whole work group and its goals. One of the things we discussed is basically our strategy on social media and like what do we want from this social media activity we've been going for. And one thing we came to the conclusion of is basically to concentrate on one social media medium, which we decided upon like Twitter, and make the other mediums just like mirrors of the main activity going on. Also, we have decided on reducing the volume of clips and videos that we're making and focus more on the quality and like the condensing and concentrating information in like small 3 minutes like kind of videos that would be shared weekly, plus other mediums, which is like threads and other stuff on Twitter. I will go through the monthly update. So we start with our social media in numbers slide. This is the snapshot and the numbers comparing this month to last month. These snapshots have been taken yesterday. So as you can see, YouTube has been going with a steady growth in the green, Instagram similarly, with a very large actually growth on the views if you compare that to the followers count, which has been kind of a stagnant at 3% growth, but the views have been growing significantly. TikTok has been doing well on all fronts, especially the followers front. We've been having a lot of followers lately on that front as well. And the views on that are phenomenal as well. I mean, we're at 8,000 views at this point. We had 25 videos produced last month. Those were mostly clips done by community members, by members basically. We have 3 new members, and that would be Grego, Mahiswara, and Devin Hardy. Join me in welcoming them in. Hopefully some of them are here. If not, they perhaps will watch this recording. So as I said, like, what's next? Well, Twitter will be the main focus for creating content. And also one other reason for using Twitter is because of the, we thought it would be great if we can get enough impressions that could be a form of generating, generating income for the work group itself, and not just as a medium. Again, we will roll out less content with higher production quality. We will try to get more engagement from SingularityNet's socials. So that means we would like to aim for more collaboration with SingularityNet's own socials, and to try like to kind of just like help each other out and get to the front view of the narrative. And yeah, that's about it. And keep up the good work, everyone. Thank you for listening to this very short presentation.
Thanks a lot for that. And well, right back at you. Keep up the good work. It's yeah, good stuff.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Move back to the screen share. Should be good. Yeah, cool stuff. Then last but not least on the list, the education work group. Tommy, I think can ask you about this.
Yes, education went into a summer hiatus, and we've decided to resurrect it. We've had 2 meetings. The first one, there were 3 people involved, Rojo and Waka, aka Walter, who's somewhat of a new member, although after how many weeks, I don't know when you're no longer a new member, but welcome, Walter, if you haven't met him. This week we had a brainstorming ideation type of meeting in education, and education is always on a Monday, and it's at 1900 UTC or 3 p.m. EDT. When daylight changes, we'll all get confused again, but it will stay at the UTC time. And we used Discord again in the educational channel, and we used something new called a Jamboard, which is a Discord tool similar to TiVo, whatever TiVo uses. What do they call that? The whiteboard. But the downside is the Jamboard does not get saved. So you can read the meeting summaries, which are posted on the educational meeting. But essentially, the agenda was, what is a wish list that education work group guild should work on? And videos regarding SingularityNet were one. Articles regarding SingularityNet. Code of ethics was brought up again, though it does not have to do with education. Start with the SingularityNet ecosystem was suggested, and a getting started channel. We do have one, but it was highly recommended again that we fix it, and that there is a way for people to get into it very easily. AI intelligence and tools were brought up. A strategy for getting grassroots involved in education and SingularityNet. That was a very long conversation that we had in education. Target marketing for AI, artificial intelligence, and SingularityNet in education. And then a big thing came up is, why aren't we outreaching as ambassadors? Udo brought that up, and I think I just butchered his name. I apologize. And what the response was, well, who besides Peter and the ambassador cadre can speak about things such as Zarka or all the tokens that's in Cogito? So if we're going to go into a media route and outreach, it was felt that we should educate the ambassadors and perhaps develop an elevator speech, a 1 minute, 2 minute elevator speech for each of the spin-offs with 3 to 5 second sound bites so we can sound somewhat intelligent. Also was brought up the need for training speakers for education and outreach. And we were talking about having a media training so ambassadors actually can talk and handle questions in a media event, such as a live Telegram space with AMA. So, how do you handle a question when it comes out of left field and you don't know what it's about? So those are the wish list topics, and we're going to expand that more on that next Monday. Thank you very much.
And thank you again. That does conclude the list of work groups. Just a quick reminder on the public calendar, if you want to stay up to date on all these meetings, also on last minute updates, if there are any, they will get reflected in the public calendar. That brings us to the next one, a couple of mentions. And actually not really the end of the work groups, because there's currently a proposal out there for starting a new work group, or guild rather. And yeah, Slate, maybe you want to touch a little on that? I'm not sure if audio is all that great, to be honest.
Hello. Hello.
That's
Yeah.
more clear. Yes,
Okay.
perfect.
So we have been working on a proposal as Gaming Guild, as stated, and the main purpose of this guild is to provide recreation and engagement throughout the program, even for the people who aren't actually part of any work groups or anything, and they're just here. And we will be holding out quizzes and trivias and many games which are going to be educative, and in both aspects, as we are going to be providing recreation and the educational aspect as well in those quizzes and games, etc. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And we have been working on this proposal, and it has gone through many iterations. And yeah, if you want to contribute to this gaming guild, it has been presented in the work group proposals. You can give your suggestions and improvements, and maybe even if you want some things to be implemented in the proposal, yeah, feel free.
Great stuff. And thanks for taking the initiative, stepping up and putting this forward. That's all what it's about in the end. So yeah, kudos for that. Let's see. The screen share will get. Maybe Slate, you yourself could put a link to the proposal in the chat. That would be good.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, then two quick mentions. Just wanted to shout out that submissions for Deep Funding Round 3 are about to close. I believe it's September 3rd, so the very end of the weekend UTC. Until that time, you can put proposals forward. And earlier today, let me double check. Yes, earlier today, this morning, my time, we pushed out a blog with a nice overview, highlighting some of the proposals. Numbers boosted over the past 2 days quite a bit. So there's a whole bunch of new proposals on there, so do take a look. Also, if you're not proposing, your input is very much welcome on the comment side of things. If you see people that are doing great stuff, or there are some proposals on there which are not quite in line with what we're looking for, also please do call that out. Community input is super important. Speaking of that, community input, the day after tomorrow, Thursday, at 15 UTC, there's a grassroots governance community forum. And well, everybody here is very welcome to join that. Basically, this is the second out of 3 sessions, I believe. And Deep Funding will have its own breakout room. So there's first like an hour of shared space, and then 3 breakout rooms for specific projects, and it will be a community discussion on what type of governance challenges projects are facing and how to deal with them. It's last one was very interesting, so I do recommend joining that one. And that does bring us pretty much to the open portion of this call, where there's space for everybody in the room to ask questions, share ideas. If there's newcomers who want to introduce themselves, that's also very welcome. I do see some new names. I also don't want to put people on the spot too much, so don't feel obliged. This is recorded for YouTube, just saying. Tommy, you have your hand up. Go for it.
Yes, I'd like to put Slate on the hot seat, so to speak, and ask for him to expand a little bit more on the gamers proposal. I read it when it first came out. I don't think there was a budget attached to it, and I'm just trying to get him to explain a little bit more about the goal of the Gamers Guild and what it will accomplish for SingularityNet. And I thought it was a great idea. I think it's a fantastic initiative, Slate, and I think you need to expand it and actually sell it a little bit to the community so we know exactly what's going on. But I think it's a great initiative, and I applaud you for it.
So the main goals of this Gamers Guild, as most of us know, like some of us have joined investor program and they're looking for work groups and stuff like that. And of course, every program needs something recreational. According to me, that there should be something recreational in which anybody can participate, enjoy, and like have a moment. And yeah, like Gamers Guild is that initiative, which is not only about recreation, but also we are going to be focusing the educational impact from that Gamers Guild and also the community engagement through it as well. Like, of course, there are going to be trivias and quizzes, etc. And through those quizzes and trivias, we are going to be educating people about the investor program and how the work groups work and etc. and something like that. And there's going to be some questions related to SingularityNet foundations, some basic questions which some of us should know, even as ambassadors, or even if you're joining SingularityNet Foundation as a starter or something like that. And yeah, some basic knowledge if to elaborate. And yeah, there's going to be mini games as well for the gaming enthusiasts out there who want to participate. They can, of course.
Well, I'll respect Rojo's hand, but I just have a short follow-up question. When you say many games, what type of games are you talking about? Are you talking about like Discord games that are already existing with different bots, such as winning a whatever it is, or are you talking about games like Call of Duty? When you say many types of games, could you give us a little more guidance?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So, like about the games, first there was a collaboration part in the Gamers Guild, and it was actually the collaboration between other ecosystems and other games which are already available, which aren't directly related to the SingularityNet ecosystem. So that part was kind of like, it was having some hindrances in its implementations. So we actually decided on actually using the games which are already present in the Discord area, where you can just use them, and some bots and some quizzes area which are available online, and some mini games online which are free to use and widely available, and we can just use them directly without any hindrance from any other ecosystem or like any other, you can say, coin and something like that. Like, and it's not going to be related to any other crypto games, and it's going to be games which are just widely available. And especially we are going to be utilizing Discord bots as well.
Roel, please.
To be honest, I had a small comment because I felt like there's some overemphasizing on the utility of educational games, which I appreciate. I like educational games, but I do think if it's the main if the main concentration is on educational games, that could be an initiative from inside educational work group, for example. It doesn't need its own guild, but if it's a larger initiative like gaming in general and some other online games might be involved, then I don't know. Then that's another thing, I guess.
They mentioned like there's not only going to be educational games but also recreative games which we are going to be utilizing, and mini games like Royal Rumble and stuff like that. Not actually from a bigger industries, but smaller industries like available on the websites and stuff. I'm not totally focusing on the education games. It's more than that.
Kenichi, feel free to.
Really nice proposal. Actually, I remember it from the first time it dropped, and I think, I'm not sure if I left comments in the doc, but I think I went through it. I just want a bit more clarity, because you, Slate, you mentioned Discord bots and all. Would this be including the quiz bots? Because that's currently in Peter and I were working on it before his vacation, and something and it's an initiative that we're still gonna go back to, with a quiz called Gartic and a few other stuffs that are even with Zilli as a means of gamifying content within our community, to give sometimes maybe the lurkers and also people that are just roughly interested in AI something to like play around with, and something to look forward to each week. So I don't know if this is a bit of part of that, but if you have more on that, please, if you can explain, that would be nice.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so what I got the question is like, are we going to be utilizing games which include AI and Discord bots? So yeah, we are going to be using quiz bots on Discord. As me and my friend, actually, he's not over here right now. His name is Malik, and he has been working with Swarm and other gaming communities as well. He has been working with the gaming communities, and he knows like some bots which actually integrate with Discord. And there are also going to be AI usage in this as well, like games like guess the prompt, and like you show a graphic and you have to guess the prompt, like how, like the one who gets closer to the prompt and gets rewarded. And yeah, we are going to be utilizing in both aspects and maybe even more.
My concern here is actually not trying to like I don't know, maybe like recreate something that we're already working on. Because the focus on the quizzes and trivia and all we've been talking about it for quite some time, and I already took up the initiative not so long ago. But I don't have enough admin rights to be able to do that on Discord yet, so that's a little holding that back. And plus, with the Twitter now, we can't announce fully to the whole community that we've started any quiz sessions, weekly quiz sessions. And I think I'm familiar with the game with the prompts. I think that's Gartic. And I just want to know if there will be, because the whole point of the trivia and the quiz initiative was to try to like gamify our content and gamify people learning and all. So just don't want like creating the same thing twice, like the focus here. So and also with the quizzes and all, it's still more of like educational content, to be honest. So I was even hoping maybe the educational guild would be kind enough to like lend an hand while we pick the topics on the focus each week moving forward. And I think the idea I got from the Gamers Guild initially, maybe that's for me personally, but the idea I got was maybe the extensive, like creating a community of gamers where they come up with initiatives on AI gaming. I didn't necessarily imagine it being the use of Discord bots. So maybe that's just me.
No, as I mentioned, that there is going to be usage of AI, and there is going to be, we are going to be broadening our games. It's not only going to be focused mainly on Discord bots. The proposal actually never got, it was in the workgroup proposals, but it never got suggested, like we actually never talked about it. So yeah, that's why there are some hindrances and there are some misconceptions about it. But yeah, I assure you that it's not totally focusing on the simple and plain old bots.
Yeah, just a thought. In theory, the overlapping parts you could collaborate, I guess. I mean, the content for trivia, yeah, if it's there, it's there. I would feel. Also, don't want to force that, but yeah, could also be an approach. Looking at the clock, we do have 15 more minutes, so that's a decent amount of time for any potential other topic. I would say yeah, just to shortly tie back to the Gamers Guild, do take a look at the proposal and yeah, let your voice be heard on what you think about it. By the looks of it, in an earlier discussion, it was more or less the approach would be to give it the green light and have 1 or 2 iterations to get a better impression of yeah, how it will turn out. And then especially in light of funding and rewards, to not fully commit, but first have yeah, a start, basically. Water, you have your hand up.
So yeah, I wanted to share a thought that, I assume that the ambassador program is not really in the business of creating work groups, but is in the business of, I assume, doing outreach. And yet, what I've seen, I've only been here a month, but I see more, fiddling with work groups than with the outreach. So what I'd love to ask you folks is to consider how to kind of go back to the basics, to the original charter and mandate, and to have the structure reflect that. So, I'd just intuitively, an ambassador is somebody who goes out there and hangs in somebody else's lands with their embassy. So I would expect the organization to have at least 2/3 or 3/4 of its effort to be, externally facing. So in light of that, whatever the right terminology is, but I'd say that, an umbrella outreach, and I'll use, the term work stream, maybe in order to keep reminding everyone that's where we're heading. And likewise, again, this is based on having been in quite a number of DAOs and other kind of non-commercial organizations. I think some kind of an umbrella services thing would be, calendaring, or, this supporting D-work and training, onboarding, and basically internally facing towards the membership. Not like investigating how somebody could possibly do governance. To me, those are all research topics that are, that doesn't necessarily have an audience. But basically, I would offer that the other side of the externally facing outreach would be the internally facing membership services. I think that that mindset would give more longevity to the units, because I've seen a lot of right now change in the structure, whether because they were single task oriented or single person focused. But anyways, so I wrote this post about slicing and dicing and too many units and structures in the forum. So that's one place we can talk more about it. The link's in the chat. But generally, I think it's best when the structure reflects the direction of the effort and are not just like reminders and placeholders. The structure should kind of act as guardrails and support, not like, when I read it first, it blew my mind that you advance through the organization by forming a war group. That to me was just weird. It's like nobody cares, right? Except for the few people in an organization who would even notice that the new war group pops up. It's not like delivering value outside the organization. So I'd suggest reconsidering that. People contribute in many ways other than administrator.
That goes without question, absolutely. Yeah, good remarks, and I would recommend people to read that post you linked in chat and to comment on it on there as well. But I also see some hands raised. If they're related to this topic, then by all means go ahead.
Walter, I welcome your comments, and I agree with a lot of them. And the one thing I don't agree with is undoing everything we've done and starting over again. We've worked very hard to build an infrastructure, and we had a very powerful meeting in education the other day. And I writing the notes, I really recognized how powerful of a conversation it was at starting to pivot towards outbound. And we had a deep funding meeting today, which kind of tied into it a little bit, the focus group. But I want to ask, and I asked Ubio this, and I put him on the spot, but I did apologize, as I will apologize to every one of you right now for putting you on the spot. Who, in an outbound basis, and an ambassador, I agree, Walter, should be focused outbound, should be working to market, exploit the existing infrastructure that it has, The ambassador needs an embassy and an embassy staff, if you want to put it in traditional terms. But let me ask you this question, and by thumbs up, if you, in reactions, if you could do this, who could go on Twitter Space and have a 2-minute AMA about True AGI, one of the spin-offs of SNet? If you think you can do that, please give me a thumbs up. Who can go on a Twitter Space and have a 2-minute AMA on NewNet? Who here can go on Twitter Space and have a 2-minute AMA on Sophia Dow, or Sophia herself, or her little sister, or Desmona? Who here could go on and have a 2-minute Twitter Space AMA about Rejuve, and or the use of the longevity app, which, by the way, just stopped its beta testing? And I will go down and I will ask the same question about Mindplex, Pathform, Jam Galaxy, Singularity DAO, Kojix and its tokens. And finally, who here could hold a 2-minute AMA on SNet ecosystem, including the ambassador program and deep funding? And I ask that because I don't think, other than Peter, any of us can do that. And until we can intelligently, professionally talk for 2 minutes, at least, in a Twitter AMA on every single one of those topics. And by the way, Zarka isn't in there, knowledge graphs, and all the other good things that are being done to go to True AGI, a missing twin protocol, and a few other spin-offs. Until we can do that, we cannot have an outbound, in my opinion, ambassador program. And that was the pivot point that I recognized this week, Monday, yesterday, in education, when we sat down and we developed a wish list. And towards the end of the meeting, as I was rewriting the notes and taking down from the Discord Jamboard, which I didn't know existed, the wish list, education in those things, an elevator speech for each one of the spin-offs, a 1 minute, 30-second elevator speech, and 5-second sound bites are what we need. So the key here is, in my opinion, going to be education and training each one of us. And we also talked about, and Peter commented, we were talking about media training and how expensive it was for C-level executives within the ecos. Do we have media training? You know, someone asks me a question, well, what about the 3 tokens in Sophiaverse? How do you handle that? And if I don't know the answer, how do I handle it? Gee, I don't know. You know, that doesn't come across professionally. So we need a little bit of media training. The pivot is here, Q4, first quarter next year, towards the end of first quarter next year, is my goal to have all this in place so we can be fully outbound. Join me, Walter, because I think you got enough smarts, and many of you do. Join us in education and in strategy and in video and in Writers Guild, because we're going to need a lot more work from Writers Guild writing this stuff, and we're going to need vids to educate. Join us. It's going to be an interesting 6 months, I think.
Thanks a lot for that. And pretty much fully agreed. Kenichi, you also had your hand up, and Walter, I also see your hand, but Kenichi, please.
Yeah, so lots of information there, Tommy. Yeah, lots of things to think about, which brings me to what I'm about to say. I mentioned earlier during the update for the Writers Work Group that I will be attending an event from August 31st to September 2nd. It's a Web3 Lagos conference, and lots of Web3 enthusiasts all over the world are going to be there, and lots of people within Nigeria too are going to be there. And I recently realized that there was also an event from August 24th to August 26th on decentralized AI and blockchain, decentralized intelligence. Yes. It was a growth summit also in Lagos. I apparently missed that, but yeah, I'm in time for the registration for the one happening in a few days. And yeah, this the areas of topic or things I would like to discuss. I'm only going to be discussing things I'm well versed with, but I'll also be trying to like spread knowledge about SingularityNet ecosystem at large. I feel confident enough to speak about Sophia DAO and Sophia Verse. I've read a lot of stuff on them. And I might be able to open on Zarka, not really sure, but neurosymbolic LLMs have been something I've been reading up on in for the past couple of weeks now. And also, I feel like these are important things to bring up, which brings me to another thing I'd like to mention. So I am a co-contributor at Crypto Sapiens. It's a Web3 onboarding podcast for where we invite founders and all kind of builders in the Web3 space to come and discuss their project, answer questions that community might have, and the likes. And we've been doing that since 2017. I became an official contributor early or mid last year, and still pushing together. And we recently just launched a new kind of series called the On-Chain Alpha, which our main producer, Omti Caldron, is going to be thinking about adding a bit of an educational inbound program where communities that have a project or the likes that don't have a podcast yet can come to Crypto Sapiens, and we can teach them the basics of hosting your own podcast and having your own educational program, and trying to get people to understand more about what it is you have to offer on your own. And the whole point of the On-Chain Alpha is to start it for the entire community, and we will be in charge of it leading up to the let's say a couple of weeks till we are confident enough to say the community itself can continue pushing their own podcast and the likes. So the point I was trying to make there is most of our written updates or our written content on the Medium page and what the video work group is doing, I feel like all this it's a better way to actually intensifies everything and to actually pass on the message and the knowledge like on a wide spread. It would be the podcast, you see, because here we can have everybody in the community reach out and compile it. This is part of pre-production where we compile messages or content or comments or whatever kind of question that the community might like to know about the project. And then we compile all that and we give that to our producer, of course, where we funnel through the questions and we articulate on it and try to like get a free-flowing conversation going between skilled people, people that understand the topic. Or like our recent podcast was on Cryptolu Studios. It's a blockchain gaming platform. They build blockchain games and all. And the owner actually had experience with games initially before blockchain came. So that kind of stuff. And then the whole educational phase where they actually explain bit by bit into every single thing that it takes and what it means to actually have a blockchain, for example, a blockchain gaming company and the likes. So I feel it's something we can actually look at, because we've always been talking about having our own podcast, and it's a very good way to actually not only educate the community, but we can also educate the ambassadors at the same time. So it's a really cool initiative, and we recently just I think Crypto Sapiens is actually funded by Bankless DAO. I don't know if anyone is familiar with that, but we are recently looking into getting more funding from Gitcoin. We just in the last round, and we have SafeDAO and also a few other projects and the likes. So yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily resting. It's not necessarily resting on Crypto Sapiens, but also we can also look at it as a way to educate our own ambassadors by having people like let's say Dr. Matt Equal come and talk about True AGI, and then we can have that on a podcast session hosted by the ambassador program itself. And then with that, we can also now bring that content into Twitter Space and the likes over time. Just my idea.
Yeah, I like that. Well, as you're aware, we used to have a podcast, an ambassador podcast. in my mind, that was great, and I would really, I'd really be in favor of having that again. Yeah, fair. And feel free to share a bit on Crypto Sapiens on Discord. I'm not sure if I recall seeing links of it. Just looking at the clock, Walter, you had your hand up earlier. Would you still want to reply to Tommy?
That was purely in response to Tommy looking for volunteers to do talks or posts or any other outreach. You know, I'm always good for writing and talking, and no Sanger 3.
That's great. Cool. Also reading a little bit through chat. Okay. Let's see. Looking at the clock, we are over time, so I think it's time for a quick check in the room to see if anybody has something to add to the current session. And that looks like a no. Yeah, good stuff. I think that's a wrap then. As for a short recap on what we discussed today, we started out with an overview of the work groups, which were all summaries in themselves, so I'm not going to summarize those. Then we discussed the Gamers Guild proposal, and with the recommendation of checking it out and commenting on it on Discord. And also, if you're interested in helping out, to step up and feel free to.
Peter?
Yeah, sure.
Can we have you on main screen in the recording?
I think so. Let me see if I know how to do that.
Stop sharing your screen.
Yeah, sure. I'm not sure if it helps to active speaker. We'll see. Soon enough.
Go to view and then press on speaker. Yeah, that should be good.
It's on gallery. Right. That'll give the editor some magic to add to the mix.
Yep.
Then so for a quick recap on today's meeting, we started off with an overview of the work groups, and after that we discussed the proposal of the to be initiated Gamers Guild. If you're interested in helping out with that or have opinions on it, don't hesitate and do contribute on the discussion on Discord. And the last portion of today's call was quite interesting discussion about internal versus external focus, outreach versus internal education before you can reach proper quality of outreach. And that's definitely something that will be continued over the coming, long time. Hopefully we get to a point where we can do the outreach at the level we wanted to do and then just go full steam on outreach. And I think that's more or less a wrap. So, yeah, thanks all for attending, and hope to see you in the many meetings we have coming up this week. I think there's about 10 more incoming, and if not on Discord. Thanks all for attending.
Thank you for hosting, and welcome back after your holiday. Good to see you, buddy.
And good to be back.